How did a demon manage to defeat the gods themselves and turn the heavens into a place of fear? And more than that, how did a young boy, all alone and unarmed, stand up to the most feared father in the universe? And win? The story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad isn't just an ancient tale. It's a powerful reminder that power without wisdom always crumbles, and that faith, even in silence, can move worlds. But what really went down in that epic war between the three realms? The old story says that, on the quiet slopes of Mount Mandara, a being driven by burning ambition set out to bend the universe to his will. Hiranyakashipu, a determined asura, dove into a level of penance so intense that even the trees seemed to go silent around him. His body grew weaker, but his resolve only got stronger. For years, he sat in complete stillness, like someone who finally stops complaining and just does what needs to be done, no matter the cost. That's the real difference between wishing and becoming. One waits. The other pushes until there's nothing left to deny. When Lord Brahma finally appeared, Hiranyakashipu didn't ask for gold, castles, or followers. He went big. He asked for immortality. And when that wish got denied, he found a loophole in the laws of existence. He asked not to die by day or night, not by man or beast, not indoors or outdoors, not on earth or in the sky, and not by any weapon. It was like someone trying to strike a deal with life, chasing eternal success without paying the price of humility. And in a way, it worked. But anything taken to the extreme always comes back around. Time collects its debts quietly. Maybe you know someone who tries to control every little thing out of fear of losing control. Maybe you've done it too. Hiranyakashipu couldn't handle limits. His need to protect himself turned into full-blown tyranny. But here's the hidden key. Anything forced eventually breaks. And it was from this invincible blessing that the most unexpected twist began to unfold, starting right inside his own home. Once he got what he wanted, Hiranyakashipu didn't waste a second. He looked at the world like he was already the one true king. He expanded his empire, stamped his rules everywhere, and made his will the only law. But here's the thing: power without awareness turns poisonous. Feeling untouchable, he banned the worship of Lord Vishnu, as if the divine could be silenced by command. It's like trying to block out the sun with your bare hand. Instead of ruling with wisdom, he acted like someone who just couldn't stand being questioned. He built a system so strict that Vishnu's devotees were hunted down as if faith itself was a threat to his rule. And in a way, it was. Not because faith destroys, but because it sets people free. And anyone obsessed with control fears anything that teaches people to connect with something greater. You know that kind of person who's scared of you thinking for yourself? Yeah, Hiranyakashipu was exactly that kind of ruler. If you've ever felt like the system you live in wants you to obey, but never question, just know that's nothing new. Hiranyakashipu tried to silence the invisible, control faith, and trap the human spirit. And that's exactly where the cracks start to show, even in the strongest empires. Because the more you try to control what's outside, the more the unseen starts to shift beneath the surface. And that shift was about to rise. Straight from the depths, aiming for the skies. With Earth under his thumb, Hiranyakashipu didn't stop there. Like someone who makes their first million and instantly sets their sights on 1,000,000,000, his thirst for power only got bigger. He descended into the underworld Patalalika and made even the demons bow down to him. Imagine a business tycoon who, after taking over a market, starts buying out every competitor. The problem? When ego grows faster than vision, the world turns into one big extension of your obsession. After crushing the underworld, he set his eyes on the heavens. Literally. He wanted to conquer all three realms: Earth, the underworld, and the skies, as if the entire universe was just another company to take over. He was that kind of person who wants to control everything, but doesn't realize they're losing themselves in the process. And if you've ever seen someone who doesn't know when to stop while they're ahead, you know what this looks like. Hiranyakashipu cared more about control than understanding. With every move he made, he drifted further from harmony and sank deeper into a reign of fear. What started as a blessing turned into a reckless chase for absolute domination. But here's the part most people miss: life always finds a clever way to balance things out. And while he climbed higher and higher, the very skies he was trying to rule were quietly getting ready to strike back. When Hiranyakashipu launched his attack on the heavens, he didn't come with prayers. He came with weapons, armies, and pure rage. He charged in like a storm that had already wiped out the villages and now wanted to tear down the clouds. The gods, led by Indra, tried to hold their ground, but it felt like trying to stop a wildfire with a bucket of hope. The war was brutal, and Hiranyakashipu's strength seemed bottomless. And anyone who's ever gone up against someone drowning in arrogance knows it's nearly impossible to beat someone who thinks they've already won everything. The skies were shaking. Gods were thrown out of their homes like royals being dragged from their own palaces. The cosmic order built on balance and reverence was falling apart. Hiranyakashipu sat on the heavenly throne, not as a protector, but as a thief of the divine. And if anyone still doubted his power, now they saw it. He wasn't just a king. He was a conqueror of the impossible. But even those who rule the heavens often forget to pay attention to what's quietly growing inside their own home. Funny how sometimes the biggest revolutions don't happen on massive battlefields, but in the quiet corners of life, where faith blooms in silence. While Hiranyakashipu was busy celebrating his victory up in the heavens, a child was about to be born in his own home. Not a warrior, not a general, but a devotee. And what he didn't realize was that the most dangerous power to a tyrant isn't an army of gods, it's the heart of a child who refuses to bow. At the peak of Hiranyakashipu's rule, when no one dared to even whisper the name of Vishnu, a boy named Prahlad was born inside the palace. From the moment he was in his mother's womb, the name of Vishnu echoed within him, because the sage Narada had taught her sacred chants while she was still pregnant. So Prahlad didn't enter the world like any ordinary prince. He came as someone already touched by divine grace. Surrounded by riches and guards, his heart still longed for something far beyond the material world. While other royal children were busy learning about war strategies and how to obey without question, Prahlad spent his days chanting mantras, meditating, and remembering Lord Vishnu with pure love. When his father found out about his devotion, he was furious. He couldn't wrap his head around how, in a kingdom where Vishnu had been completely banned, his own blood had become the god's biggest devotee. Hiranyakashipu summoned the royal teachers and demanded they rip that faith out of his heart. But nothing worked. Even after being scolded, punished, and threatened, Prahlad stayed calm. Sitting quietly with his eyes closed, he kept chanting Vishnu's name while the whole palace filled with anger. The guards hesitated to even touch him, and the teachers admitted they had never seen such deep devotion in someone so young. With every attempt to crush his faith, Prahlad only grew stronger. And the king who had defeated gods and conquered the skies now stood powerless in front of the peaceful gaze of a child. So now, tell me, are you living like Hiranyakashipu, trying to control everything? Or like Prahlad, standing strong in what you believe? Because in the end, it's not the strongest who wins, but the one who won't back down. And if this message hit home for you, if it made you stop and think, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and stick around with us for this journey of truth most people are too afraid to take.